Eleanor drove for many hours. The road grew narrow and twisted. Dark trees leaned over the path. Finally, Blackwood Manor appeared. It was vast and imposing. Dark stone walls rose high. Ivy clung like ancient fingers. The air here felt suddenly cold. Mrs. Albright opened the heavy door. She was a tall, pale woman. Her eyes held a deep sadness. "Welcome to Blackwood, Eleanor," she said. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. "The children are already asleep now." She led Eleanor into the hall. Shadows seemed to dance on walls. Eleanor's new room was quite large. A tall window faced the dark woods. The old house was strangely silent. Then a floorboard creaked nearby. She heard a faint sighing sound. Was it just the wind outside, or was it something else entirely? She locked her door that night. Morning sunlight struggled to penetrate. It cast long, eerie shapes. She finally met Thomas and Emily. They were small, quiet children. Their eyes were large and watchful. They didn't speak very much. They just stared at her intently. Mr. Albright was away on business. The days at Blackwood felt long. Eleanor tried to play with them. The children remained quiet, distant. They often whispered to each other. Their games were strange and unsettling, always about hiding or being lost. The old house creaked and groaned, especially when night began to fall. Mrs. Albright seemed increasingly worried. She rarely offered even a faint smile. Her thin hands often trembled slightly. "Did you hear anything unusual last night?" she would ask Eleanor each morning. Her eyes searched Eleanor's own face. For what, Eleanor did not know. She only heard wind and settling wood. Eleanor discovered a locked door. It was upstairs at Hall's End. The hallway itself was quite dark. "What is in that room?" she asked. "The old Nanny's room," Thomas whispered. "She just went away one day," Emily added. "She never said goodbye." Their small faces were very grave. Then Eleanor started to hear it, a very soft, melodic song. It sounded like a faint lullaby. Did it come from the locked room, or perhaps from inside the walls? She felt cold spots in the house, and the sensation of being watched. She was never truly alone here. "Who was the previous nanny here?" Eleanor asked Mrs. Albright one afternoon. Mrs. Albright visibly stiffened at once. "Her name was Sarah," she replied. Her voice was carefully flat, devoid. "She simply decided to leave us." But her eyes betrayed deep fear. Eleanor felt a sudden, sharp chill. Eleanor sometimes felt quite strange. Her head would ache dully. Some memories felt indistinct, fuzzy. Why had she taken this job? The advertisement had been so brief. The offered pay was unusually high. She thought she needed the money, but was that the only reason? One night, a fierce storm raged. Lightning briefly lit the hallway. Eleanor saw a figure there, a woman standing in shadow, tall with long, dark hair. Her face looked incredibly sad. Then, the figure simply vanished. Eleanor's heart pounded in her chest. She began to search the library. Dust lay thick on every surface. Hidden inside an old bound book, she found a small, faded photograph. A woman stood by the manor gates. Her face was pale, her expression lost. Her eyes, they looked like Eleanor's, but filled with an unspoken terror. Eleanor showed Mrs. Albright the photo. She held it with a trembling hand. Mrs. Albright let out a sharp gasp. Tears instantly filled her wide eyes. That is Clara," she whispered. "She was my younger sister." She started to sob uncontrollably then. "She disappeared from here years ago. I hired you, Eleanor, because of it," Mrs. Albright confessed through her tears. "You look so much like her. I hoped you might remember." "Remember what?" Eleanor asked, confused. Her own head throbbed with sudden pain. "This house, it holds dark memories." Mrs. Albright looked absolutely terrified now. Suddenly the heavy front door burst open. Mr. Albright stood framed in doorway. His face was a mask of thunder. "What is the meaning of this?" His gaze fell on the photograph, then it fixed hard on Eleanor. She must leave this house, immediately. He grabbed Eleanor's arm with force. "Let go of me now!" Eleanor cried. Then a sudden blinding flash, a memory, sharp pain, screaming voices. Mr. Albright's face contorted with rage. You are Clara!" Mrs. Albright breathed. Eleanor remembered everything then. The accident. Mr. Albright. He had tried to silence her. She wasn't Eleanor, she was Clara. Home.